3 from Finn.
Eagle 3 in position.
How's it looking, Paul?
Quiet as a mole.
Roger, Eagle 3. All clear this side, boss. Roger, Eagle 2.
Here they come.
He's a cell too.
Collect Mrs. Murdoch from the hotel in 20 minutes. Have you checked the car? Check it again before you leave. Don't forget Mrs. Murdoch's one of ours.
Silver service, sir.
Morning, Catherine.
Morning. Gonna wish me luck?
You think you need it?
Muster. OK, Gerald, ETA about 5. Max Hot Dog House, Sarge. They want an algae someone or other removed.
Did you say algae?
Mm-hmm.
God, court doesn't sound too bad after all, does it, mate?
Right, I'm out of here.
What's wrong? Well, who's algae?
Roger. Better warn Nairi. Algernon Fielding Forbes is coming in.
That's all I need.
Time, is it?
Yeah.
You clear about what you're going to say? We might not even need it, mate. The defense are going to try and chuck these out, along with your evidence.
What's that?
We obtained the interception warrant under the Misuse of Drugs Act. And we charged Murdoch under the Crimes Act. So, we can't use the tapes unless we can prove we could have got the warrant under the Crimes Act.
How are you going to do that?
Bernie.
Jim.
Good flight?
Bumpy.
We're going to prove that the criminal organization existed. Vanderwall, Solomon, Murdoch.
Yeah, well, if you can't.
And Murdoch walks.
Okay. And you get to tell Casey Murdoch that she almost lost her life for nothing.
You can tell her yourself. She'll be here in 10 minutes. So, did you enjoy Club Med Gore?
Yep. So, this gunman, you managed to trace him yet?
No, nothing.
The guy at the garage saw him, didn't he? McLean?
He's our key witness, mate.
Well, I hope you got him wrapped up in cotton wool, then.
You all set? See you in court, Bernie.
Yeah.
David Aubrey Murdoch, you are charged that on 4th of September 1991 at Wellington, you did conspire with a person or persons unknown to murder Dean Francis Solomon. How do you plead in answer to the charge?
Not guilty.
You are further charged that on the 4th of September 1991 at Wellington, you conspired with a person or persons unknown to murder Casey Rochelle Murdoch. How do you plead in answer to the charge?
Not guilty.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will now retire and select your foreperson.
All rise.
Is it enough? It'll have to be, won't it? I wonder what she's got up her sleeve.
I'll take you over to the court in about half an hour, Mrs. Murdoch. Is there anything you want? A coffee? Sandwich?
No, thanks, Snift.
Bernie?
No thanks, Snift.
You okay?
Well, they've been looking after you?
And Sunny too, Rangy. It's been the most frustrating month of my life. Thank God it's over.
Well, almost, eh?
Detective Sergeant James Barker will outline discussions held with the deceased, Dean Francis Solomon, when arrested in possession of heroin with the street value of approximately $100,000. Mr. Barker will describe the conditions demanded by Solomon in exchange for detailed information on the international heroin trafficking organization he was involved in. He will then detail how he obtained interception warrants, which authorized the police to place audio and video resources in Solomon's house and boat, the Deliverance II.
Good to see you in one piece, Bernie, Mrs. Murdoch.
Always knew I could rely on you to keep me safe, boss.
Okay, out you get.
Anyone we know?
Your guess is as good as mine.
On Wednesday, the 4th of September 1991, I was assigned the task of monitoring a technical surveillance operation at the Evans Bay Marina. I now produce these audio and video tapes as Exhibits C1 to 12 and Exhibits D4 to 16.
Transcripts of the surveillance tapes will assist Your Honor and members of the jury to examine the conversation closely. Although they've been analyzed, you may pinpoint areas yourself which may demand closer scrutiny.
Your Honor, this aspect of the Crown's evidence gives rise to an issue to be argued before Your Honor in the absence of the jury.
I'll see counsel in chambers.
Court is adjourned.
All rise.
What's happening?
The judge is just looking at the admissibility of some of the evidence.
It's just a formality, Casey. They'll be back in a moment.
How can he get like this?
Hello. I'm hungry. Hello, Algie. I haven't had anything to eat.
Get his property off him, get him showered.
What's your name?
That's Constable Tanya.
What's the story this time?
Manager's had a guts full. Algie stinks so much now wants to go inside the restaurant. Do we really have to charge him for it?
Willful trespass again.
Thanks, Bernie. Just testing, maybe.
Can't someone go and find out what's happening?
Call Constable John T. Waipunamu Robertson.
You little ripper poodle. Well, there's your answer, Casey. The tapes are in. Suck it to them, T.Y.
I thought it was just a formality.
You know about my gun?
Yes, that was no good. Indicative, though, of the way you've been handling yourself.
It's no problem, really.
You know me. 100,000 behind me, is that a problem? No, Dave. No.
Constable Robertson, you made some notes in the surveillance log. Exhibit L4.
Yes, sir. Could I have the court's permission to refer to the exhibit, please? I could identify one of the men as Dean Solomon, the deceased. I noted he was deferring to the other man, later identified as the accused, David Murdoch. I called my operation base and arrangements were made to recover the tapes immediately. I refer now to the next recording, Exhibit F3.
Dean, it's me, Rohan. What the hell are you doing here? Dad, what are you doing? I'm as surprised as you are, matey. So what are you doing here?
I work for Dean.
What doing?
Driving, okay? Just now and then.
So what are you doing now?
I
thought Dean might have been in touch with Mum. There was a cop round at her place this morning.
You made further observations, Constable?
Yes, sir. I noted that the accused had some expertise in handling a pistol and had instantly assumed a state of combat readiness. I recognised the younger man as being Rohann Murdoch, therefore the older man was his father, David Murdoch. I concluded that the woman being discussed was Mrs. Casey Murdoch, whom I'd also met previously. I again contacted my base and described to them what had happened. The accused received only one other visit during my duty. I refer now to Exhibit F4. In this last segment, the accused met with a Caucasian male who remains unidentified.
I'm going to have to downsize the company. Hurts me to do this. It's a family business. But I have one or two areas I need to rationalise. Now, I want you to deal with the sales rep. It's going to be pretty easy to find. He's going to take it hard, so use your discretion, eh?
Pathetic, isn't it?
How can they say he's better off in the community?
Money.
Since they moved him out of Poru, he's been irregular. Doesn't know where he belongs anymore, I suppose.
Well, someone should be taking care of him.
Get real. You'd be happier up on the town belt under a piece of roofing iron.
He'd do the car too, if he had any brains.
It's true.
I never thought it would come to this. If there was another way out of it, I'd try and find it, but still dead wood's dead wood, eh? Now, it's a pretty hillbilly sort of place, but that's where you'll make the meeting, all right? Sure. Now, I'm booked on a plane at 3:15, so I better get moving.
What did you do then, Constable?
I contacted my base and advised Detective Inspector Martell of the details of the discussion.
Thank you, Constable. Answer any questions, please.
Constable, what did Mr. Murdoch do after the last meeting you observed?
He took some papers from a briefcase and ended some work with a calculator.
Why is it you made no notes during that meeting?
I didn't have any personal observations to record.
Really? Is it boring carrying out this sort of surveillance task?
No, I don't find it so.
Your observation point was inside a container, wasn't it?
Yes.
How hot and stuffy would a place like that become?
It was ventilated.
You didn't find yourself becoming at all sleepy during that day?
At times.
Did you in fact go to sleep?
Yes.
When did you go to sleep?
Prior to and during the time that the accused was visited by the unidentified male Caucasian.
And you didn't wish us to know about this, did you, Constable?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Just made him look bloody sneaky. Oh, you're okay. McLean's up next, isn't he?
Constable Robertson, the fact that you momentarily fell asleep did not mean that the tape stopped recording, did it?
No, sir.
Not even for 1 second?
Absolutely not, sir.
Thank you, Constable. I now call Alan James McLean.
Call Alan James McLean. Call Alan James McLean.
Jeez. Anyone else been in here, Bernie?
No. Who are you looking for, Jim?
McLean.
Call Alan James McLean.
Damn. He's not here.
Did you summon him?
I talked to him on Friday. There were no problems then.
Go and find him.
No appearance, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we seek the indulgence of the court and of the defense to agree to an early adjournment while the police inquire into the whereabouts of this witness.
Miss Pierce?
I object, Your Honor. The prosecution does have other witnesses they could call.
You'll be ready with your witness after lunch, Mr. Gray?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Mac always gives me a hot dog. He's my friend.
He doesn't want you hanging around inside the restaurant.
Then why does he give me hot dogs?
He just doesn't want you to go hungry. He doesn't want to be your friend.
Does so.
Algie, you can't go back there, otherwise we have to come back and take you away again.
Will it be you, Constable Tanya?
Algie, when you go to court, you have to tell the judge why you went to see Mr. Mack. There's a person sitting at the front of the court in a big chair.
That's where God sits.
No, that's where the judge sits. We call him the judge. Now, you have to tell him what you told me.
Yes, Constable Tanya.
McLean, he hasn't turned up. Where's Robertson?
Come on, come on.
Yeah, is Alan McLean there? Well, have you seen him today? Thanks. It's his day off. Where the hell is he? Someone's gonna have to go out to market to check McLean's place. Robertson's free, isn't he?
Robertson!
Here's the address.
OK, let's we'll both go. Come on, we're off to Markera.
Yes.
Are you too busy for some play lunch?
Well, I do have a lot to get through. No, it's okay. Come. Oh, what have we got there?
There you go.
Thank you.
I won't stay for long. Are you still on for Stubbs's shout at the club tonight?
Oh, I'd love to, but I better see how we go this afternoon. I'll let you know.
Okay. Young Robertson won't forget you in a hurry.
Well, I play to win, you know that. Now, you'd be a worthy opponent. I'll cross-examine you later.
You find me a bit harder to deal with than Robertson was.
Lunch okay?
Too nervous.
You're first up, I'm afraid.
What's the guts with McLean?
If we find him, we'll let you know. You okay? Any problems? Mr. Gray will lead you through your evidence.
Call Casey Rochelle Murdoch.
Wish me luck.
Hello, Constable Tanya.
Hello, Algie. What happened to you today? Thanks.
I had some lunch. I had meat and salad and mashed potato and...
No, I meant what happened at court. The place with all the people?
Oh, the lady said I couldn't go to Mac's hot dog house anymore. I have to go. Mr. Mac's my friend.
You'll find other friends, Algie.
Will you be my friend?
I am your friend.
Don't be stupid.
Shut up, Smudge. Let me handle this.
Your friend? You've got to be kidding.
Don't be so bloody rude.
Look, I'm not being rude. He'll stick to you like shit to a blanket and you'll never get rid of him.
Bastard.
Dean Solomon had found out where I was staying at Tom and Marie Hanley's farm and followed me there.
Detective Gregory had arrived also?
Dean had a pistol. He started shooting at us. We ran towards Detective Gregory's car, but Dean appeared and aimed a gun at us. He ordered us to go down the road to where his car was parked.
Then what happened, Mrs. Murdoch?
Dean said that Dave ran it all.
What did you take that to mean?
Importing heroin.
I object, Your Honor. The witness is making an assumption about what Mr. Solomon meant.
Mrs. Murdoch, what were the exact words Mr. Solomon used?
He said, Dave ran it all.
Then what happened, Mrs. Murdoch?
Dean wanted us to get into the back of his car. Then I heard a gunshot, and Dean fell to the ground. Detective Gregory pulled me down, and we edged round behind the car. Then a man's voice called out, "Police. It's okay, guys. You can come out now."
Those words? What happened next, Mrs. Murdoch?
I wanted to run towards the voice. I wanted to feel safe, to get away.
Go on, Mrs. Murdoch.
Everything happened. I heard another shot and a loud noise near my head. And suddenly I was on the ground. Detective Gregory had knocked me over. He told me to stay down. We heard the sirens. The police arrived. Dean was dead.
Thank you, Mrs. Murdoch. I appreciate this has been extremely difficult for you.
Mrs. Murdoch, this has obviously been an horrific experience. Unfortunately, I have to ask you a few questions, but I will be as brief as possible. Now, this Dean Solomon is not a person you would place any trust in, correct?
Correct.
So you'd have no reason to believe everything he told you, would you?
No.
Now, what exactly is your relationship with the police, Mrs. Murdoch?
I know Detective Gregory.
How did you meet him?
About 6 months ago, when my son was nearly killed.
When your son overdosed on heroin?
Yes, on heroin that came from Dean Solomon.
Who told you that?
Detective Gregory.
Your son was arrested on a number of drugs charges.
Yes.
Who by?
Detective Gregory.
And have you seen Detective Gregory often since then?
On and off.
How often? Every week?
Yes.
Were you having a personal relationship with him?
No.
At the same time, you were developing a relationship with the deceased, Dean Solomon, is that correct?
I saw more of Dean, yes.
What exactly was your relationship with him?
A friend, I suppose.
An intimate friend?
No.
But you shared a spa bath and champagne with him?
Once? How do you know that?
Did Detective Gregory pay you for supplying him with the information about Dean Solomon's drug dealing?
No.
Mrs. Murdoch, you were with Dean Solomon when he was arrested in possession of a considerable quantity of heroin.
Yes.
And you were also arrested at that time for possession of cannabis.
Yes, but the charge was withdrawn.
By Detective Gregory?
No. By the police.
Mrs. Murdoch, did your ex-husband, my client, ever express an interest in using drugs?
No.
In fact, he was quite vocal in his opposition to hard drugs, wasn't he?
I can't remember.
But you do remember him banning certain people from your house when Rohann was a toddler, don't you, Mrs. Murdoch?
Vaguely.
Ah, I see. You remember now. Your husband was never violent towards you, was he?
No.
And he never threatened to kill you, did he?
No.
Thank you. That's all.
Rohan's here.
How was it?
Call Bernard Alexander Gregory.
I'll take you back to your hotel, Mrs. Murdoch, when you're ready. Sorry, mate. Can't come here.
No. Hey.
Right, it's my son.
What the bloody hell you think you're playing at, Mum?
I was trying to help you.
Hey, cops really sucked you in. All this stuff about Dad, it's not true. It's a police setup.
Is that what he told you?
Yeah.
Look, there's jobs piling up all over the place today. We've got no time to play social worker.
Well, someone has to.
Smudge has got a point, Tanya. With everyone at court, we're pretty thin on the ground.
Great, they'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that fiasco up at the High Court and then kick someone like Algie out on the streets.
Well, you're right. But there's no answer to it.
Detective, you seem to have obtained a lot of your expert knowledge about the drug world through undercover duties.
Yes, ma'am.
Undercover work involves living as a criminal, doesn't it? To what purpose?
To obtain information on criminal activities.
So you live a life of deception and lies?
You operate under a cover designed for you.
You have a false name?
Yes?
False car registration?
Yes.
You trade in cannabis, LSD, heroin?
You might purchase these substances in the line of duty.
So you live a life of deception and lies, don't you?
A policeman carries out the duty he is assigned to.
Now, I understand many undercover agents have difficulties adjusting back to normal police duties. Did you?
No.
Let me specify. Did your marriage break up?
Divorce is common these days.
Did you have treatment or counseling to cope with stress?
Marriage breakups cause stress.
Yes or no, detective?
Yes.
Have you ever had a complaint laid against you?
Yes.
Have you come under pressure to resign because of these complaints?
Yes.
Now, you also have the reputation of being very successful at working with informers. To deal with informers would require you to be very manipulative, correct, Mr. Gregory?
One needs to anticipate developments and respond to unexpected ones.
And manipulate people to carry out your instructions?
Manage people, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Gregory, you have a certain relationship with Mrs. Murdoch.
She assisted with some inquiries.
You're fond of her, are you not?
I respect and admire her.
Is it true that you're having a close personal relationship with Mrs. Murdoch?
That would be difficult, ma'am. We've been at the opposite ends of the country for the last month.
Yes. But that doesn't answer my question, though, does it? Thank you, Detective. No more questions.
Where did she get all that stuff from?
Some of it from me.
You should know about pillow talk, Brian.
And you should know me better than that. Look, she happens to be a very sharp lawyer.
Obviously. She's sucked you in, hasn't she?
She's quite capable of making her own inquiries and deductions.
Or to screw somebody to find out what she wants to know.
Yes?
Oh, you seem busy.
I'll be burning the midnight oil tonight. I won't be able to make drinks.
Fine, I've got some things to sort out myself.
Something on your mind?
Ah, this isn't really the time. I'll see you tomorrow.
Tell me now.
Okay. I resent you using information you've gained through our relationship as a basis for cross-examination.
Specify.
Bernie Gregory.
Most of that information is common knowledge.
And the rest?
Now, you can't tell me you've never used information gained socially to help you with your work.
Is our relationship just a means for you to get information?
You wouldn't say that to me if I was a man.
I wouldn't sleep with you if you were a man.
Hey, do you think I manipulated you?
Sometimes. Actually, this last month, I've really missed you.
You fancy dinner? I'll tell Nifty.
You're buying the champagne.
Thank you. Good night.
McLean's here.
Thank God for that.
He'd gone bush, hunting. Came out to listen to the rugby and got the note from the Featherston police.
Do you recognize one of these people, Mr. McLean?
Yeah, this one. Witness recognises photo number 4.
Go on, Mr. McLean.
He asked how to get to Tom Hanley's farm. Old Tom's place is a bit isolated, so I always keep an eye on it.
Did you notice anything in the man's vehicle?
Yeah, there was a dark green Parker on the back seat.
Could the witness be shown Exhibit M12? Is this a similar garment?
Yeah, like that.
What happened then, Mr. McLean?
The guy paid for his petrol and headed off up the road where Tom's farm is.
Did you notice police passing the premises later?
About half an hour later, several police cars came past.
Thank you, Mr. McLean.
Mr. McLean, how many customers do you have at your petrol station in the course of a day?
I don't know, 100, 150?
And do you remember all of them?
Well, of course not.
And did you correctly remember the date you were to appear here in court as a witness in this case?
No. No, I didn't.
Thank you, that's all.
I supervised a search of the bush directly above the residence here. This area is accessible by vehicle from a track up the southern side. This was where Detective Gregory had seen movement after the shooting. This part was cordoned off and divided into grids. In grid H7, I refer to exhibit M42, a small piece of green synthetic fiber. On the 9th of September last, I again visited Mr. McLean at Marketa. I had in my possession a photo display board, exhibit L2, referred to by the previous witness, on which were placed 8 photographs. Mr. McLean indicated photo number 4 to me. Photo 4 is a likeness I cropped from still photographs I had taken from the video footage. Exhibit D12, a conversation between the accused, David Murdoch, and an unidentified male on the boat Deliverance 2.
Why didn't you stay at Salvation Army? You would have been given breakfast.
I had to see Mr. Mac to tell him what the lady said.
But you were told not to go there anymore.
I want Constable Tanya, not you.
What the hell are we going to do with him now? It was a waste of time charging him. Tanya! All right, you've made your point. We've got a bit more time today, so find someone to take him, please.
Thank you. Give it a rest, Smudge. At least I'm trying.
You're wasting your time. Don't get involved. You'll only upset yourself.
Don't you be so bloody patronising. I'm not afraid of my emotions. Look, Smudge, the job's changed. It's not about hooning around the city with your lights flashing anymore.
There's a car waiting to take you home. Cheers. I didn't know you were coming in. I haven't allocated any security for you.
I think I'll have a right to hear what other crap's going to be said about me in there.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll sort something out.
Yeah, I think it's the least you could do.
Mr. Murdoch, please tell us about your connection with Dean Solomon.
When my companies collapsed in 1987, Dean was the only shareholder who stood by me and didn't blame me. I decided that my family would be better off if I left New Zealand. And Dean agreed to keep a discreet eye on them for me.
And you returned to New Zealand 3 months ago?
Yes. My son, Rohann, had been arrested. I wanted to try and do something for the boy. And for a while, I also hoped for a reconciliation with his mother. Of course, she obviously had a different agenda.
What was the reason for your second visit in September?
Again, I was still worried about Rohann. And several weeks earlier, Dean had asked me for a loan. $100,000. Well, I felt obligated to him. I raised the money against my business, but he failed to return documents to me, signing over his boat as security. My lawyer instructed me to visit him and tidy this aspect up. Of course, sadly, he never got to sign them.
Mr. Murdoch, why did you refuse to tell the police who the third visitor on your boat was?
Well, I was planning to downsize my company. The man was a business associate of mine and, well, quite simply, I didn't feel it was any of the police's business.
Thank you, Mr. Murdoch.
I put it to you, Mr. Murdoch, that the reason you refused to identify the man on the boat was because you'd sent him to kill Dean Solomon and Casey Murdoch.
No, that's not true.
Then what is his name?
Robert Brown, with an E.
You are aware of the meaning of perjury, are you not, Mr. Murdoch?
Yes, I am.
Do you have chocolate biscuits at your house?
No, I don't. Major Vinton will look after you. You go with her. Now, you're not to go see Mr. Mac anymore.
Yes, Constable Tanya.
Coming up for a coffee?
You go ahead. I've got a couple of things I need to think about.
Apparently, she's dug up another witness.
Who is it? His mother? Character evidence, eh?
All rise for His Honour, the Queen's Judge.
New witness.
Call Vernon Sinclair Morris.
Mr. Morris, you regularly photograph patrons of Burberry's restaurant in the Plaza International Hotel?
Yes?
Do you know the couple in the background of these shots?
No.
But you spoke to them last night.
Oh, yes, I asked the woman if they'd like a memory of their celebration. She said they were traveling incognito, and she just laughed.
Why did you ask them?
Well, they were drinking Paul Roger. Best prospects I saw all night.
Cheap shot, isn't it?
Can you see these two people in the court today?
There they are, right over there.
The defense has attempted to show the conversation on board the Deliverance II to be harmless business talk. It is a fact that soon after this last conversation, the so-called business associate, Brown, was in the Markara area seeking the Tom Hanley farm, and that shortly afterwards, shots were fired, killing Dean Solomon. And were it not for the clear-headed action of Detective Gregory, Casey Murdoch would have been murdered also. It is a fact that Brown had in his vehicle a green acrylic parka. Threads of green acrylic material were found.
She's playing
in
a
the bush
dangerous
where the
double
shots
game
were
between
fired.
Dean Solomon and Detective Gregory. What exactly is the relationship between Mrs. Murdoch and Mr. Gregory? Just an acquaintanceship? Photographic evidence presented before this court suggests not. My client is a victim of circumstance. A man who was in the wrong place at a time when the police had just lost the chance of breaking a major drug ring through the death of Dean Solomon. Ladies and gentlemen, David Murdoch is an innocent man, a law-abiding man. You have no alternative but to find him not guilty. Thank you.
CIB. Yeah, ta.
They're no closer. Up on the bus. You'll be at the plaza for the night.
Oh, no. Surely they can make their minds up.
I suppose room service will be off by now.
Silence! All stand for His Honour the Queen's Judge.
Members of the jury, I would like to thank you for your excellent attention during this trial. I have to inform you that it's my duty to discharge you with no further obligation in this matter due to the unexpected death overnight of the accused, David Aubrey Murdoch.
Silence! Silence!
I don't think it's a coincidence our two Asian friends aren't here today.
Sort of affair, Jim?
God got him, eh?
Be a lot of publicity on this one, Catherine.
I'm more concerned about the cause of death.
Heart attack, they say. You attending the postmortem?
Congratulations on your defense.
Thanks.
I've been thinking. It's best if we call it a day. With regrets.
As you wish. My regrets too.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
I'm sure you made quite a reputation for yourself in the defense business.
If you ever fancy a sail...
It wouldn't work. Like you said, it's a loadman's boat.